Everyone, welcome back to another edition of Sports to the Wire. For those of you who are actually new to the channel, I am your hostess, RASHEED. On my other co-host there is Barrick.
What's up, guys?
If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, and definitely share it. We have special guests actually joining us today. They're from the show Revolution and Revelation, the Militant Philosher, K to the M, Kenneth Murray, and C Truth the Revelator. We were actually guests on their show. Definitely the link will be in the description for their channel. Definitely check it out. Riveting stuff there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Good evening to you guys.
Not a problem.
Good evening.
To you, Revelator, K to the M, Kenneth Murray. Definitely a pleasure to have you on, man. Definitely electrify this show over here, man. Just don't try to shock me too much today, man.
Yeah, it might be some shocking going on here.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be talking about this obviously with you guys from a red pill lens. You know,
we definitely need more red pill, man. A lot of blue pill people out here, man. A lot of blue pill people out here.
I'm just a simple dude trying to get through society, you know.
Yeah.
No.
All right. So this show today is going to be about Chad Wheeler. He was arrested for strangling his girlfriend twice, as a matter of fact. And Barrick, take us off, man. Take us off on this one, man. You're the football guy here, man. And I'm gonna definitely input on this.
It's unfortunately it's not really a football thing. It's really
domestic violence.
Based on it's domestic violence, and I've had personal issues with this when I was younger. But I tell you right now, this thing with Chad Wheeler went way past bedtime, and the fact that the NFL, more importantly, what has really pissed me off the most is that they have basically dropped the ball on this. Now, Chad Wheeler did exactly what we as strong men would never do to our wives. And he choked this woman twice, almost killing her twice, and learned about it and basically said, quote unquote, "You're still alive?" And then the woman ran into the bathroom and called the cops. But that's the unfortunate part of it. How this thing went all around the world, especially within the United States, the NFL, all the other sports, the NBA, all these guys learned about it. The unfortunate part of it is that the NFL decided to drop the ball on this. They want this thing to go away quietly. So Chad Wheeler basically got suspended with pay. Chad Wheeler is home relaxing, waiting to see what will happen to him. Now, no team has picked him up, obviously. They don't want to have the drama on their team right now. But this man should be suspended indefinitely. That's not the way this thing was being handled. So this is not really a football thing. This is the way the business of the NFL is handling things with the Seattle Seahawks and Chad Wheeler. So in this personal situation, I think we are basically going down the tubes on this situation here. And what I mean by that is the NFL will drop this thing even worse. Chad Wheeler will probably wind up on the NFL team between this year and next year. I guarantee you that might just happen. Because a lot of things is going on in the NFL with black athletes. When they do something wrong, they've been hit heavily. Now look at a situation with Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott played for the Dallas Cowboys. Now back in 2016, he was charged for fraud. He was also charged for domestic abuse. And then what wound up happening is they did suspend him without pay. Then the Dallas Cowboys suspended him for 6 games, also without pay. Now, we don't have to go down to the road where we look at Colin Kaepernick and what happened to him. Colin Kaepernick is banned from the NFL because he took a knee. Chad Wheeler chokes a woman twice, and he's suspended indefinitely with pay. Something's wrong with that. And the NFL players right now are looking at this situation heavily, and they want action. They want the NFL to bring down the anvil on Chad Wheeler. They have not done that yet.
Let me ask you the timing of the NFL, the woke movement, the Colin Kaepernick fiasco, it's really caused the NFL ratings to actually drop substantially there. So you actually think maybe they are being so quiet about this because of the optics of the situation? They're trying to actually look good. And then Kenneth, I want you to follow up with my that question too. But Barrett, go ahead.
Yeah, the timing is definitely not good for the NFL. And basically, they're basically being quiet about it because of what's going on around the world, because of what happened to Capitol, etc. So this is the way the NFL decided to handle this. I mean, again, like I mentioned to you before, real quickly, if the NFL does not hand down stiff punishment on Chad Wheeler, this thing's going to blow up like the Hindenburg, I'm telling you. Especially the black athletes around the NFL, they want to see action.
Strong metaphoric analysis.
Well, let me be very, very clear. Black people want justice. Black football players want justice in America. What the NFL wants is black players to focus on football instead of justice. The NFL cares about one thing, and that is their image. When the NFL had an opportunity to take a knee for justice and be on the right side of history, they chose to be cowards and bend their knee in favor of public opinion. In doing this, they became shameless hypocrites. So the question is there a double standard in the NFL? One standard for the white players? Is there another standard for the black players? And that is the question. Is there a double standard in the NFL? And I'll leave that up to you guys.
Yes, there is. Absolutely, it's a double standard. Because they had certain issues, and we've talked about certain players, that basically was probably like, you look at Ray Rice, we brought that up. Ray Rice, he was wrong for what he did, but he was banned from the NFL. Michael Vick, he was not banned from the NFL, but he was arrested for, utilizing dogs in dogfighting. So, but he was back in the NFL again, earning money. So, what I'm trying to say, guys, is if the NFL player does something wrong that affects their bottom dollar, as Kenneth alluded to, then you'll never see those guys again. But it seems like you can basically do anything wrong and not affect their bottom dollar. He'll be back in the NFL again. And you'll see how the situation with Chad Wheeler plays out. Guarantee you.
Revelator, your response to that?
My thing is this, gentlemen. Even if you don't pay attention to the football or watching football, or even if you're kind of divorced from society like myself, you've got to really be under a rock not to see the difference in terms of what's happening with this situation with Chad Wheeler. Now, of course, Barrett just spoke about the Ray Rice situation, spoke about Colin Kaepernick. Here's the thing. When you have a black man like Colin Kaepernick, all he did was just take a knee. And everybody just came down on him. Basically, conservatives, those that took it a certain way, even though that it was a military person that gave him the idea. And then Donald Trump just basically made it worse. But thing is with Chad Wheeler, I mean, obviously, here's the thing. If you're an organization that talks about it, that wants to have equality amongst your players, then all you got to do is treat your players equally. If you're going to have one guy be, you're going to have one guy be suspended for this, which is a serious incident, then you got to treat the other player the same way too. I mean, Chad Wheeler should be he should be in jail right now.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, he not just beat up his girlfriend, but he tried to kill her. This is at least if you want to say kindly manslaughter, this is attempted murder. I mean, basically.
This is my problem with this. This man's been he tried to kill her not once but twice, and he's home with suspended with pay.
And the bottom line here is that Ray Rice didn't attempt to kill his wife. His wife was the aggressor at the time.
Yeah.
Yet he was suspended and he's not playing football anymore.
Correct.
Now, Kenneth, he is documented. He's documented bipolar depression. Does this actually play a factor into this?
The answer is yes. And hear me carefully. Whenever white people do outlandish things where their behavior is off the charts, they always play the mental illness card. They either blame the medication or they blame themselves for not being on the medication. And let me be very, very clear. Mental illness is not an excuse for problematic behavior. Just because your pain is understandable does not mean your behavior is acceptable. Let me put it to you this way. Mental illness does not give you a pass in life for your actions. Let me give you some examples. Remember Roseanne Barr? She called an African American woman, Susan Rice, an ape with big balls. And when she was confronted with that, what did she say? She said, everybody knows I struggle with mental health issues. Like that makes a difference. Remember Mr. Phelps, the Olympic guy. He got busted doing drugs. And
marijuana.
he blamed it on mental illness. The trend goes on and on and on. But in this case, we have a Caucasian man beating up on his black girlfriend, and he blames it on mental illness. I didn't take my medication. Love should never send you to the emergency room.
That's
All right,
right.
so the medications do have harsh side effects, like weight gain, and he's a professional athlete, and definitely he has to keep his weight in check. I think Barrick mentioned earlier.
I understand what you're saying.
Suicidal thoughts. So
But here's the deal.
bipolar depression is a real thing, Kenneth. It affects a lot of different races, not just white people. And I know black people who's actually suffering from it right now.
What I am saying is every single time a white person does something that is outlandish, they run to the mental health card.
But I've seen a lot of black people do that too, Kenneth. Come on. I've seen a lot of black people do that. I've seen a lot of
the young white man that shut up that church. Oh, I'm sorry. He was off his meds. There was something wrong with him. Every single time a white person does something that is outlandish, they've got to be off their meds.
But Kenneth, I've seen a black guy just attack random black people, and he used the actual and he was documented bipolar depression and not taking his medications. There was one another person a couple of weeks ago. No, I mean you're blaming. You're saying it's a race thing, and it's not a race thing.
Let me be a little bit more clear. When you are a celebrity, when you are somebody's in front of the camera, and you do something that is outlandish, the first thing that they do is that they run to the mental illness card. And that's where they stay at. Now,
I agree with you there. I do agree with you. But I mean, he's actually documented bipolar depression.
So does that
he has to, and listen, this is no excuse on him. Kenneth, listen to what I'm saying. This is no excuse on him. He has to understand when he's about to go into a manic phase, where the first phase of that is you're not sleeping, and right then and there you actually have to know your trigger points. And I tell people my friends and people who I know personally who are going through this.
Sure. You are excusing away the behavior. Okay.
I just said that Mr. Wheeler has to understand his trigger points. He has to understand when he's about to go manic. You just don't go manic right away. It's a buildup. It's a buildup towards this.
So in essence, his girlfriend said something, and like a volcano, he blew up. He couldn't go outside.
That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a buildup towards this, and he needs to actually realize that. And his girlfriend actually really needs to, when you starting to see the buildup, go get this man some help. He's not taking his medication.
Notice what you just said. Go get this man some help. You are not saying put him in jail.
No, I'm talking about before all this happens.
Let me just add this one thing to you, guys, because I see where this is going. Let me remind you guys, the Seahawks were well aware of Chad Wheeler's bipolar issues when they signed him.
If he takes the medications, Barrick, this stuff is actually in check. This doesn't even actually happen. But when they off the medications, when they off the mood stabilizers, and they have a bad trip, I mean, black, white, it can happen. I know black people who are personally going through this. It's not just a white thing. I mean, this is a serious thing, Kenneth. This is a really serious thing. Revelator, you've been relatively quiet. Let's get your perspective real quick.
Well, here's the thing, right? I don't think it's so much the illness. It's so much of how the media is treating it. What I mean by that is this. Now, if it had been a black person, had it been a black man that almost murdered his girlfriend, right? The media would be screaming for that guy to be thrown under the jail.
Absolutely.
Not in New York State. No, they have to just get released the next day. But go ahead.
New York State. Well, this happened in Seattle though, Rasheed. So let's keep it there.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here is that, like I said, you don't have to be, under a rock and not to see the difference. I mean, there's obviously a difference here in terms of how a black player is treated versus a white player being treated. I mean, look at Ben Roethlisberger. Like I said, he was accused of rape. Somehow he got off. What else? He had Richie Incognito.
For a second, you know about those rape claims and stuff like that, man. Come on.
Yeah, Rasheed, that happened in college. He was in Miami of Ohio University, and he was basically charged in college. Now, you know how those things go down in college now, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So they didn't have this report until later on. So as soon as he got to the NFL and he was making it happen with the Steelers, this thing came out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Okay. But you can't ignore it either.
It happened a lot, though. Central Park, the 5 black women who allegedly...
Excuse me, don't even bring that up.
Yeah, that can't be compared.
You can't compare the two.
Those guys did time.
They
did time.
Yeah.
For something they didn't do. Okay? They did time for something they didn't do. That's not the same thing. This man choked his girlfriend twice. Unconscious. Twice. And he is standing out there, walking around on his 2 feet, somewhere in King County, just outside Seattle, being paid. I don't know if it's by the Seahawks or by the NFL.
It's a dicey situation in a sense, though. It's half and half. He is responsible because he is supposed to be taking the medications. He's definitely supposed to be taking that. But listen, some people are truly in denial that they have this bipolar depression. They are in serious denial about this.
But it doesn't give them the excuse to go on beating people up.
It's a serious problem right here.
But he can't be in too much. He can't be in too much denial, though, Rasheed, when the guy basically was told either by him or by his union reps or by his doctor that he had bipolar. The Giants knew it when they drafted him, and the Seahawks knew it when they took him from the Giants. These are 2 prominent franchises that were well aware of Chad Wheeler's personal issues. So you're right. It is his responsibility to take his meds, but it is not his right to use it as an excuse.
No, I agree. I definitely do agree with that. I mean, but if they're not taking the medications, I mean, these people are not in the right frame of mind. I mean, they, sometimes it could be...
He's in the right frame of... Yeah, I hear you. But he's in the right frame of mind to play an NFL football game. To suit up and play a game. So somewhere along the line, he had to be taking his meds, right? Because if he has... Huh?
Can I tell you how this whole thing is going to end?
Please.
Okay. Number 1, if you listen to his apology, he's shamed. He has this, I'm so sorry. And he starts crying, and I can't believe this. That's number 1. Number 2, it's for guilt. In his apology, he says, I'm going into therapy. Now, what's going to happen next is that he's actually going to become a spokesman against domestic violence. Okay, and then after that, he's going to have what's called temporary measures of repentance. He's going to start doing community service. And then after that, he's going to have other people come to his aid and support him. Oh, he's paying his penance. Oh, give him a break. And
but listen, I'm just telling you. I know people that are personally going through. I talked to you about this, Kenneth. You know, I know somebody personally. I don't want to say here, but I know somebody personally that's going through it. They don't know what planet they're on. I'm telling you, man. They just don't know what planet they're on. And when they actually get on the medications and they can get some sleep, you know, they say, I did what? You did what? Yeah. You know, if you talk to social workers, because I talk to social workers with this, they'll just walk naked on a beach and the police got to detain them. And
yeah, but Rasheed, again, but you're right. These are different stories under the bipolar. I knew a friend that I went to school with. She committed suicide and threw herself in front of a train. So, I mean, there's different ways this thing's ending. But what I was saying is the fact of the matter is that these guys knew. The people that paid them, the people that employed them knew. And these papers
the scientific facts are if they take the medications on a consistent basis, you know, they should have no problems. They can go through
Then
years
explain to me this. If what you're saying is true, if what you're saying is true, explain to me why white athletes get to move on and black athletes don't move on.
Right.
Black athletes go into forced retirement. Okay?
Revelator, you want to answer that? Because I know you want to get a word.
Sorry. They don't get second chances. This is why the black athletes needs a plan B. Okay? Because they cannot operate the same way white athletes operate. They can't. Okay, it's a double standard, and you know you have sat there for almost 10 minutes, and every time we talk about bipolar, you're saying, well, you have to understand if they're on their medication. Listen to me, they are not crazy. Okay, when he was beating on his girlfriend, he knew what he was doing. He actually
exactly. And I'm sorry. This is exactly what you're basically telling me what I've been explaining. The man grew up and played football every Sunday. He knew what he had to do. Get up in the morning, get his meal in, get to the parking lot, get to the stadium, suit up,
definitely.
play.
I agree.
So where's his problem at? Where's his problem?
The thing is that they go on an incredible high where they feel good, and then when that crash comes, then and this is what I'm talking to different psychiatrists about, and the different social workers, because like I said, I have family members going through this right now, and they, like I said, they can understand. It's a dicey situation, you know, because it does affect people differently.
Okay, can I say this real quick? Is it possible that this man was pissed off about something, and his girlfriend must have said something or did something, and this man went off on her? Not just once. He choked her, left her unconscious, walked away. See, she was still alive. Came back for whatever the reason, choked her again. Then got up and sat down and had cereal.
Yeah, there are two things that we got to look at right here.
Something's wrong here, bro. It don't add up. You use the bipolar as an excuse. The actions do not equal the disease, the mental illness. I'm sorry.
I think if this is a black player, if this happened to a black NFL player, Kenneth would actually be saying a whole different thing right now, man. You know?
Well, I think if this happened to a black player, then it would have been a completely different situation. I think that if it was a black player that did it, it'd be all over. It would be talked about for a month.
But Kenneth would understand the facts, though. He would understand exactly what I'm saying. He's like, yeah, okay, it's true, but because he's a white guy, Kenneth is actually, you know, getting all emotional over here, man.
Because white people are the problem. That's why they are the problem.
I mean, and also the thing is, come on. You know, I mean, they talked about Ray Rice every single damn day. You know, until now, the man doesn't even. The man's career is over. I mean, we knew it was going to be over as it was talked about. Right now, they're trying to keep this thing quiet with Chad Wheeler.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the bottom line.
The first thing I say.
You can see it. You don't even have to be a football fan or even a sports fan to see not to see that. You got to see that. It's obvious.
Well, we gotta understand.
obvious.
There's a lot of suicides.
Question is now,
there's a lot of
with this-
suicides that's actually.
and I hate
happening.
this, and I hate this term. I mean, I think the word woke has been bastardized too much.
Mhm.
Obviously, you've got a difference here.
Yeah.
What's the NFL going to do about it? That's going to be the next. That's the next question.
Well, this
That's the
is
next step.
exactly why when we first did the intro, I told you, if you guys go back and think about what I said when we originally started the show in the intro, that this is going to have a bad ending. That you're going to see Chad Wheeler lining up and playing football again. And the reason why, again, I believe this is going to happen because the NFL is playing the quiet route. Remember what I said to you guys. They kept him on the team. They tried to play it the most traditional way. They started building up momentum. They had to cut him, so they look good. Now the NFL is like, well, we got to look even better, so let's keep this under wraps. You can't
instead of
do that.
suspending him like what they did with Ray Rice.
Exactly. Ray Rice was not only suspended, he was banned.
Yep. So was Colin Kaepernick. And
That's right.
All he did was take a knee.
All he did was take a knee.
Well,
Right.
well, no, I mean he was affecting the NFL's bottom line. That was the main thing. If the fans didn't really care about what Colin Kaepernick was saying, he'll still be playing. But the fact that the NFL saw a dramatic reduction in fans, they had to do something. Yeah.
They should have also been mad about they should have been mad at the military guy that actually gave them the idea.
Yeah, that's.
They wasn't going to do that. They weren't going to do that. But you know, like I said, and I've made this comment before, and Rasheed's piggyback on it, so he's right for saying it or agreeing with it. Is that if you affect the NFL's bottom line, you're not going to be playing another game in the NFL. Has Chad Wheeler affected their bottom line? The answer is no.
Any business, you affect someone's bottom line. We could work with you. You know, I've seen it happen in our jobs over here, Barrick. I mean, there's people that should be gone, but they keep them. But if you start then you start looking really, really bad now, and affects the company's bottom line. We have to, as much as we like you, we have to kind of get rid of you.
Well, this is what pisses me off because unfortunately, the way the NFL is looking at this, Chad Wheeler has not affected their bottom line. Again,
At least not yet.
Not yet. But again, what we've been saying over and over from the four of us, they've been keeping this quiet. They don't want this to affect their bottom line at all. They don't need this.
And
this
you know,
is
here's another question actually. Where are all the feminist groups on this particular situation?
Man, this story just broke, man. No.
Where is the National Organization of Women on this particular situation?
Correct.
I'm sure they've had the same energy for Ray Rice. Where's the energy for Chad Wheeler?
Or either come to the behalf of this woman who most people don't seem to know her name.
Hell, where's Me Too at? If they're still around.
Right, exactly.
Right? Because the bottom line here, this is domestic violence against a woman.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if the man is white or black, they should be coming out in droves. And right now, you don't see that. But
Nope.
you saw it when they came out for R. Kelly, right?
Yep.
These organizations, and there were also discussions about R. Kelly's condition in terms of, or his past in terms of what happened to him as a kid. But they ignored that.
Totally dismissed it.
Right? But now we don't hear or see these feminist organizations like now coming out and basically wanting Chad Wheeler's head on a pike. Why don't we see that? Why don't we see that?
We don't see it, and the thing about it is that the NFL Players Association is led by a black man, and he's been running it for the past 8 years and running it very well. He works hand in hand with NFL Commissioner on many aspects. And while this has been going on, the NFL Players Association has not made a comment. They have not made a statement. The NFL Commissioner has not made a statement. Because the NFL Commissioner works for who? All 32 owners.
right?
All of what?
White.
Okay, I can only plant these seeds. You see how this is going? These 32 owners don't want any more problems. We're just getting over Kaepernick. Okay, we got over Michael Vick.
All the woke nonsense. All the NFL woke, the NBA woke has been turning off a lot of the conservatives, which is about almost 200 million people in the country.
RASHEED, why do you call it nonsense, sir? I'm just interested. Why do you call the woke?
Well, because the NFL had a brand of America. You know, they be patriotic, and now you're saying F America now. America sucks.
Wait a minute.
Who are actually millionaires.
They never said that. They never said that.
We're not. Listen to me. We are not saying that America. Listen to me. We're not saying that America sucks. What we're saying is that America has a problem and they got to deal with it. You know, I always say this, and I'll say this one more time. Players are like cattle, and the owners are ranchers. Ranchers can always get more cattle. This is a situation where if Black people begin the process of pointing out the injustices, then all of a sudden they are the bad people. You know, why don't you just shut up and dribble like they told LeBron James. They want us to be in a particular compartment where we just do what they want us to do. Those days are over. Those days are over. Yeah. Sports and politics are one. To ignore this is to ignore the importance and influence that sports has always held.
It matters what the fans think and the people that are actually watching it, and I think the fans wouldn't mind the players actually spewing politics, but we don't want to hear nothing that CNN actually has to say, man. And that's all these players are actually doing is just spewing CNN rhetoric and nonsense. And nobody wants to hear that.
Which fans are we talking about?
Let's flip the script. Let's just say white people were getting beaten up by Black cops. Do you honestly think that what you just said would hold water?
If white people were getting, say that again. I'm sorry, Ken.
If white people were getting beaten up by Black cops, do you honestly think that the NFL would say, well, you know, we just want you to play football. Don't worry about the injustice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, I mean, it all depends on how many white people are actually getting. You know, we're not
listen to me. If one,
we don't pull anybody over for 26 and a 25 now, right?
Do you remember that girl that went missing? Her name is Holloway. She was a white girl, and she went missing in one of them countries over there. Blonde girl. Chick. Yeah.
She got killed, right?
Yeah, she got killed. You remember her name?
I don't.
It was a couple of white.
I want to say Natalie, but I'm probably got the first name wrong.
That's it. It's Natalie Holloway. You remember that one?
Yeah,
Natalie Holloway.
Yeah.
Right, you remember her, right?
Yeah.
You remember the girl? Do you remember the girl that got killed last night?
No.
Exactly. That's what I mean. When it comes to white people, once something happens to one of them, it goes around the globe. If something happens to one of us, that's just the way that they are.
What are you talking about? George Floyd. That went around the world. There was a movement for him. What are you saying, Kenneth?
There would not have been anything had it not been for the cameras that were there.
Well, you can say that about anything.
Well, actually, I kind of remember like back in the 80s when you had like these programs that showed missing white women all the time, but I never really seen like missing Black women. They never really talked about them as often as they talk about the white women. Well, you look at NBC, whatever nightly news, whatever news program that was on at the time, you know, you can see it on like 2 o'clock in the morning. You see it like after 11 o'clock, and they talk about these missing person cases. And actually, all the time that I remember seeing it is usually white women that they're seeing on TV that they're talking about. So again, you know, the question is there a double standard when it comes to
I agree.
attention, you know, for Black, you know, white women versus Black women? Obviously there is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about, and I think that's what a lot of people are talking about. You know, it's like, will Chad Wheeler get the same coverage as a Ray Rice?
Well,
and right now, that's not happening.
That's the great thing about Time, is that Time actually answers so many of our questions, and Time will certainly, definitely tell what's going to happen, and we can definitely revisit this once we actually see what the NFL is going to do here. But in my opinion, if the guy can't take his medications, and you have to kick him out the league. You know, he's unstable. There should be some attempted murder charges there, because again, he knows, like I said, I'm dealing with people with bipolar depression now. They know when they're about to go into a manic situation. They know they're supposed to take the medications.
Rasheed, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this one question. If the NFL owners of the teams knew that this man was bipolar and his actions almost killed someone, shouldn't he be held accountable?
No, I just said that. He should be charged for attempted murder.
Should the owners be held accountable since they knew this man was a mental case?
Well, if you go by the science, and like I just said a couple of times, if they take the medications, the mood stabilizers, they're fine. Is once they stop taking the medications. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, there's people with heart conditions that actually have a job or actually operates heavy machinery, and they have to take their.
If I am an owner, and you basically are off your meds, but I hire you and you go kill somebody, who is initially the blame?
Liable to be the owner.
Yeah, you can say the owner. Yeah.
Right. So if the owner is initially to blame and this young lady lives, she should sue the owner for hiring this man knowing that he was a ticking time bomb.
Well, she has to take some responsibility too, because she actually said.
What did she do?
What did she do?
Let's chill with the emotions. Hold on.
What did she do?
But you gotta think about what you say before you say it.
Hold on. Okay? I did my prep here. She said out of her mouth that he was off his meds and he had bipolar depression. She said this.
But what did she do?
Rasheed, hold on a second, guys. Hold on. What have I been saying so far this entire time? Who knew about his bipolar issues? Come on. Who knew about it?
The owners did. Yeah.
And the coaches knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's her responsibility, then it's everybody's responsibility. Absolutely. More so than Chad's. But we still don't know exactly what took place in that apartment. What led to this man choking this woman not once but twice.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So until we get those facts, I hear what you're saying about who you've dealt with, because you're not the only one that has. I dealt with it too.
Yeah, you understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a friend of mine committed suicide.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know these things have different ways of ending, but what we got to get our hands on is.
It's a serious issue. You know.
It's a serious issue. But what makes it more serious, though, while we even talking about this, the race plays an issue. The way the NFL handled this situation versus how they've handled other issues involving black players.
And
this is a major. That's right, in the mainstream media, right? So this is where we are right now. And one thing we don't have is the actual incident and how it got started. And
too bad we don't have it on film. We don't have it on recorded.
Oh my God, we don't got nothing on film.
Imagine if it was recorded.
Woo.
If this was recorded, I'll bet you, given the history of the mainstream media and how they treated black players, I'll bet you that this never would have gotten out. They would not even show it.
They want this to go Betty Bye. And where I think they'll do it is you won't see or hear anything from Chad Wheeler the rest of the season, maybe even next season. And somehow, some way, he'll pop up with somebody's team.
He said in his apology, he said he's walking away from football to get some help.
For now.
How come he's not being arrested?
Well, he was arrested.
Yeah, and left out on bail, my man. If I'm not mistaken. And I did my prep too.
He got out on bail. Yeah.
$400,000. $400,000 bail. And did I not mention? I'll mention it for the third time. He is officially being paid either by the Seahawks or by the NFL to stay quiet.
All right, but now the black players who actually were in this type of predicament, did they actually have any type of psychological abnormalities or anything like that?
No, my man, because a brother would not come out there and say, "Oh, this is my reason for doing it. I got issues with my mind. I got heart issues." Not one black player came out and made those comments. Not one. They owned up. If I punch that woman in the face, I own up.
Especially
Okay?
Ray Rice, he owned up to it. Look what happened.
Right,
to him.
exactly. If I had a dog ring, I owned up. Okay?
Michael Vick, they went after him. They said, "Did you mess with the dogs?" He said, "Yes, I did do it."
Yeah, he owned up like a man. He owned up. But Chad Wheeler, oh yeah, I got bipolar, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, come on,
That's
man.
what I'm saying.
Come on, something's wrong with that.
Every time these celebrities have an issue, they run to the mental illness card, and
It's not
they
even just
live
celebrities, it's regular people too. There's regular white people.
Some is real, some is not. But again, this is like I said, this is bipolar depression, and they actually know we can't use that. We can't use that as an excuse. Yeah, it's an attributing factor, and I understand. But he knows his trigger point. He knows when he's about to get manic. First, like I said, the first thing is you're not getting sleep. And that's a trigger point for him, and he should go get help right away. And that's on him. That's on Chad. And in my opinion,
You know,
I'm not playing the NFL again.
I'll say this. If let me simplify it like this. If he was going through an episode, right?
Yeah.
And that episode forced his hand. You ever see the movie? You ever see the end of the movie Seven? And they're at the very end of the film. They're both in the car. It's Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt in the front, and you got Kevin Spacey in the back. And Morgan Freeman asked Kevin Spacey, because he said he believed in God, and God made him do it. If he believed in it so much, then he tortured those people. He deliberately planned and tortured those people. For the deadly sins that he,
Premeditated.
Exactly. So let me take that point and go with this. If that is the case, and Chad knew he was going through an episode, as you alluded to, Rasheed.
Yeah.
That means it forced his hand to grab that woman not once. It forced him to grab that woman twice.
He should have attempted murder charges on him, especially after the first time he put his hands around her throat. All right, I'll give you that. But then you go ahead and you could do it again. No, now it's attempted murder charges. Because listen, if it was me, you, Kenneth, the Revelator, the DA will be quick to put that attempted murder charges on our asses.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Of course, no matter what condition we were in.
I don't care who you are.
No doubt.
Yeah, no matter what condition we were in.
Nobody's above the law.
They wouldn't want to hear it.
They wouldn't want to hear
it. I've been struggling. I haven't had a job. Everyone's coming at me. I've been frustrated over it. This person came and just ticked me off and crossed that line, and one thing led to another. Oh, really? Well, boo-hoo. We all got problems. Blah blah blah. No, Chad Wheeler said.
And let's not forget that they would also treat a young black male as an adult if he was under the age of 18.
Yeah,
that is some like
that. And granted, Mr. Wheeler probably got a good lawyer. We seen with the glove doesn't fit with OJ.
Yeah. Well, in this particular case, he fit through that door. He fit his hands around that woman's neck, and you know what I'm saying. And he sat there in that chair about maybe 15 to 20 feet from her body, and sat down and had a bowl of cereal.
Well, listen, bipolar depression is not a new phenomenon. We understand the actual phases of it, and they understand the phases of it, and he definitely should be held accountable. This is not nothing new. If this is something new, I totally get it. But bipolar depression is well documented, and he should actually understand his trigger points, and there is help out there. There are facilities that will treat him.
Why is it that you keep saying there's help for him and not actually saying
anybody that struggles to it?
Why are you saying that there's help for him and not actually saying that he should be going to jail?
No, I'm talking about way before this. It's not now.
No, I'm saying that.
I'm talking about. No, I'm just saying there's no excuse because there is help for him. You
But
know,
I'm just
that's what
saying, why do you offer to give him help instead of just saying
before he put his hands around his girlfriend's neck? Before that, when he's about to go, and when he's in a manic phase, or when he feel like he's getting into a manic phase, there is help.
Okay, but then Rasheed, that help wasn't there for that woman initially.
Before that, way before that. Because you understand, it doesn't just come out of the blue. There's a build. It takes 4 or 5 days, or 6 days, or a week sometimes to get to the point where.
Okay, but Rasheed, but the NFL. Okay, but the NFL puts. Listen to me. The NFL puts people in place to help their players. Did you know that?
No, I know that. But just as him as a person, there's mental institutions where he can go and get treatment before this even happened.
Yeah,
anybody,
just like Josh Gordon.
Going through bipolar depression, and if you feel that this is actually coming on, there are places where you can actually get help, and do not be in denial.
Let me ask you a question. Right now, if I was to go outside to the store and just smack a woman upside her head, the cops arrest me, and I say, I'm off my meds. Do you honestly think that they're going to say, okay, well, we're going to get you some treatment?
No. You have to go. A psychiatrist will actually have to make that assessment.
Okay.
You can't just say that.
Assessment.
In this case, it's documented that he's actually has bipolar depression, and he is taking medications for it. He's not just saying that, Kenneth. It's documented that he has bipolar depression as per his girlfriend, and he's actually taken mood stabilizers for it, in a sense. So this is not, he's just not just saying this, but what I'm saying is that he knows he's been going through this for a long time now, and he should understand his trigger points.
So I got a question.
Yeah, I'm just.
I got a question. So she was attacked twice.
Yeah.
So did this happen in the same incident, or was this another time this happened?
Same incident. It was the same incident, same location, same incident. It happened once, time went down, and in between there, it happened again in the same location. And then he went to sit down. He had cereal. She then came back to consciousness for a second time. He said, "You're still alive? I thought you were dead." And she ran to the kitchen. She ran to the bedroom. I'm sorry, the bathroom. And that's when she called the authorities.
Now,
They got it. And as soon as they, as soon as he actually gets into the hospital, they give him a shot to try to get because a lot of them, they can't sleep. They don't sleep in like 3 or 4 days.
Doesn't the NFL have wellness laws in that which if you have too much drugs that you can be cut from a team?
Yeah. Look what happened to Josh Gordon. So if this man who had bipolar was taking all of these drugs, don't you think that there was a wellness issue there? Yes. There was definitely a wellness issue. And that's why I keep saying time and time again that you do not take on a player. And this is why I said the things I said in detail. He was drafted by the Giants. They knew about his situation when he was drafted. When you get rid of a player, another team learns about, okay, what's going on with this guy? How good is he? And what I also found out is that he's not a true starter. He's just plugging in holes. That's what he was there for. He was never a true starter.
I remember when he was with the Giants, and I think they took him out to plug him in as a right tackle, as a right guard at some point.
You go and see the reporters, and then you head on home to your personal life. So what happened between when you win a football game? And notice now, the Seahawks got eliminated from the playoffs 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay? You see a pattern here?
Yes.
Okay.
Cutting their losses.
There you go. You see, so this is kind of where I say, you know what? This has to have the kind of ending that will satisfy everyone. What would that be? We do not know, but it has to end with this man not ever seeing the field again. And right now, you have not put the words out there to say he will not see the field again. What you're saying now is we're going to keep him on the side. We're going to keep him quiet. We're going to pay him a little bit, keep him going. And then we're going to figure out how we're going to do this.
Is the only person who said that he's not returning to football was Chad Wheeler, not the NFL
right.
or the Seahawks.
Exactly.
So
That's
they'll
right.
have an opportunity to get him back on whatever team that any team needs an offensive tackle or offensive guard or offensive person.
Exactly. Mark my words. Between this year, maybe not next season. Trust me when I say you may not even see him next season, but you will eventually see him again.
Well, just like we saw Richie Incognito, right?
Incognito, that's right. You see what he did in the locker room. You remember what happened with Richie Incognito, where he was a member of the Miami Dolphins, and he basically choked out another player who happened to be black, choked him out, called his manhood out, say he was weak the whole 9 yards, and then all of a sudden, he winds up with the Raiders.
Well, could it be that he has the complexion for the protection?
He was also on the Buffalo Bills, too.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying, he has the complexion for the protection.
See the pattern.
Seems.
There's a
And
pattern.
that's the pattern. So if that can happen with Incognito, what you think is going to happen with Wheeler?
You guys let us know in the comment section over here, man, what y'all guys think about it. We're gonna wrap this up over here. If you like the video, please comment, subscribe, share it. Sharing is caring. When you share, the universe actually shares with you. And remember, get on the Revelators and Kenneth Murray's YouTube page there, Revolution and Revelation. The link will be in the description. Like I said, that's riveting stuff.
Absolutely.
Interviews with Barrick and myself there, which you'll find definitely compelling. All right,
Yes,
everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate your appearance on the show. Great. Very great show.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys again for the invite.
Not a problem.
Absolutely.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Absolutely appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. All right, guys.